Imagine you're walking through a park on a normal afternoon. Nothing seems unusual. Then you notice a crow sitting on a nearby branch. It stares directly at you. You keep walking. The next day you return to the same place. The crow is there again, watching. A few days later it happens again. Same stare. Same bird. Most people would assume it's a coincidence. After all, it's just a crow. But what if it isn't? What if that bird actually remembers you? It sounds impossible. Yet scientists have discovered something so strange that it completely changed what we know about animal intelligence. Because crows don't just recognize human faces. They can remember them for years. The story began with a simple experiment. Researchers wanted to study how crows reacted to potential threats. To do this, they wore unusual masks while capturing and releasing wild crows. The scientists assumed the birds would eventually forget the experience. After all, humans struggle to remember thousands of faces. Surely a bird wouldn't do better. But months later, something unexpected happened. Whenever the researchers wearing those masks returned, the crows reacted immediately. They called loudly. They followed them. Some even swooped down from trees. It was as if the birds remembered exactly who they were. And what scientists discovered next was even more surprising. To test the idea, researchers repeated the experiment. Different people wore different masks. Some masks were associated with capturing the birds. Others were completely harmless. The results were astonishing. The crows treated the masked individuals differently. Birds reacted aggressively toward the faces connected to bad experiences. But they ignored the harmless ones. This wasn't random behavior. The crows were identifying specific human faces. Even more incredible, they continued recognizing those faces long after the original encounters had ended. Suddenly, scientists realized they were looking at something extraordinary. These birds weren't simply remembering danger. They were remembering people. Most animals rely heavily on instinct. Crows are different. Their brains are surprisingly advanced. Scientists discovered that crows pay close attention to facial features, body shape, movement, and behavior. When a crow encounters a human, it gathers information. It creates a mental profile. And once that profile is stored, it can be recalled years later. Imagine meeting someone once and remembering them forever. That's surprisingly close to what crows appear capable of doing. But recognizing a face is only part of the story. Because crows don't always keep that information to themselves. Researchers noticed something remarkable. Crows that had never encountered the dangerous mask still reacted negatively toward it. How was that possible? The answer was astonishing. The birds appeared to be teaching one another. Older crows warned younger crows about specific humans. Information spread throughout entire groups. A crow that had never seen a person before could still treat them as a threat. Imagine if one bird recognized you, and then told every other crow in the area. It sounds unbelievable. Yet evidence suggested exactly that. And the consequences were bigger than anyone expected. Humans aren't the only animals that remember negative experiences. Scientists found evidence suggesting that crows can hold long-term grudges. Years after an unpleasant encounter, they continued reacting to the same faces. In some cases, birds remained cautious even when the person posed no danger anymore. This wasn't simple fear. It was memory. A memory that refused to disappear. Suddenly, crows seemed less like ordinary birds and more like intelligent observers keeping records of the world around them. But the most incredible discovery wasn't about memory. It was about culture. Scientists eventually realized that crow knowledge could survive across generations. Young crows learned from older ones. Behaviors were passed down. Warnings were shared. Information spread through entire communities. In other words, crows weren't just remembering individually. They were creating a form of collective memory. A dangerous human identified by one generation could be recognized by the next. This discovery shocked researchers because it suggested something once thought unique to humans. The ability to pass knowledge through social learning. And if crows could do that, what else might they be capable of? So why do crows never forget your face? Because their survival depends on recognizing who can be trusted and who cannot. Over time, they evolved extraordinary memories and remarkable intelligence. They observe. They learn. They remember. And sometimes they teach others what they've learned. The next time a crow stares at you from a tree, you may wonder what it knows. Has it seen you before? Has another crow told it about you? We may never know. But one thing is certain. When you look at a crow, there's a good chance it's studying you just as carefully as you're studying it. And if you think that's impressive, wait until you discover the animal that can recognize itself in a mirror. Because that mystery may be even more unbelievable.